Goodwill, good for the planet and our community for 100 years.
We hope you're going to have a chance to be together with family this Thanksgiving, and if you are, and you begin to notice anyone you love struggling with hearing loss, our next guests understand all too well how difficult it can be to know how to begin that conversation with them about perhaps getting some help. Well, Grace Young and Dana Natera are here. They are with Ahlberg Audiology in Cleveland, and they're going to give us some help this morning. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Is it fair to say, Grace, I mean, that initial conversation of saying, hey, mom, dad, whomever, I noticed some things.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. It is difficult. And I think what kind of pushes us to do it is how important it is, especially during the holidays when you start to notice that people with hearing loss are isolating themselves, aren't engaging in the conversation. It's just because you care about them, you want to have that conversation with them.
Well, it can be difficult, Dana, I guess sometimes to even recognize those signs, because if you're with a large group of people, you might just think someone's being polite and quiet.
Right, and so a lot of the signs that we see with people with hearing loss is that they'll start to exclude themselves from the conversation, or they'll just sit there and start nodding, and they're not really engaging with you the way that you're used to them engaging with you. And so it's really important to start to notice those little things where maybe they're not responding to you as often, or maybe they're just not engaging in the conversation like they used to.
I guess if it's a situation with a person who lives alone, he or she might not really even be aware that they're losing the hearing. Is that right? Because they can control their own volume on the TV and they're not engaged in conversation as much.
Yeah, especially because hearing loss can be such a gradual thing. Sometimes it's hidden. That's why it's so important to get your hearing checked and to see if you have a problem with your hearing.
What is the recommendation? Because Tiffany, Dr. Ahlberg, who's often here, talks about like a baseline hearing test and what a good idea that is. And I can't remember the age she recommends.
Yeah.
Is it 50?
Generally, you start to lose your hearing around the age of 35, but you're going to start noticing it around 50 to 60 years old when those high frequencies start to decline. And that's when we hear a lot of our patients say, I can hear when people are talking to me, I just can't understand what they're saying. And that's the big red flag that we always hear in the office. And that's when we're like, yeah, it's because there's hearing loss in those high frequencies.
So the frequency is a key word. Explain that.
Yeah, so hearing loss can sometimes affect certain frequencies or pitches different than other frequencies. Oftentimes we see that some of those high frequencies are affected first before the low frequencies. And so sometimes what people report when that happens is that they're missing out on clarity, like Dana was saying. So they may say, I can understand, but, or I can hear, but I can't understand.
Right.
Because those high-pitched consonant sounds that give us clarity, they're missing.
So let me ask you this. If you were to observe some hearing loss over the holiday season and somebody wanted to make an appointment with you, can they get in pretty quickly? And should they, like if it's an adult child, should they maybe come with their parent?
Yeah, family is important to bring to the appointments, just so that everyone's kind of in the conversation and everyone understands what's going on. If you give our office a call, we always have a moving schedule and we're able to get people in pretty quickly. And if they're okay with seeing one of us, the residents, instead of Dr. Ahlberg or Dr. Brittingham, then they can get in a lot quicker and we can try to get that turnaround time before the holidays.
And it's about an hour-long time, I guess, for that first initial hearing test and screening?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for the information this morning, and I guess just be sure to kind of be aware of the surroundings when you're gathered over the holiday season, and treat somebody in the way you'd want to be treated, and kind of guide them toward that success they can find. I think the average is something like 7 years before people look for help. So thank you both.
Thank you.
You can find them at Ahlberg Audiology on North Ocoee Street in Cleveland. There's their phone number for you, 641-0956, and online it's ahlbergaudiology.com. Thanks. So June Pewitt with the UT Extension has been a treasure trove for us here on 3+U over the years. From canning to money saving to Tai Chi, June knows a lot